here this weekend. He's your number 4 overall seed. A very important match here for both of these players. Zach is number 9 on your SCG Tour leaderboard overall coming in to this event, and Drake was number 13. And remember, based off of our Player of the Year leaderboard, the top 7 uninvited players qualify for the Players' Championship, and Zach would be one of those players right now, and Drake is on the outside looking in. But you also have to remember that there are going to be points that are added to these players' SCG Tour point totals at the conclusion of this weekend. So, with that mouthful out of the way, Zach's going to start things off with a Slayer Stronghold and an Amulet of Vigor, and for Drake Sasser, it is a Spirebuff Canal and a Sleight of Hand. So for Zach, it's the ideal start. He's got his probably most powerful card in his deck now, as here is a Simic Growth Chamber. He'll tap it for a green and a blue. He'll return that land to his hand. This means he probably has an Azusa to play.
And this is the kind of draw that Zach needs, just as fast as possible.
Here is a Simic Growth Chamber. Float. Return it twice. Playing Ancient Stirrings with a little bit of mana floating.
And the Amulet is not just acceleration for these sorts of draws, but it also is a major difference on whether your Primeval Titan is kind of lethal out the box the turn you play it, or if you need at least one more turn of setup.
So here is the Stirrings. We'll see what Zach wants to take here.
Remember, he's still got blue, blue, green floating. But even with a start this explosive, there's pressure on Zach to try to get this thing over with on the 3rd turn if possible. Because if Drake plays either Electromancer or Brawl on turn 2, can't feel optimistic about getting a 4th turn if you're in Zach's spot.
So it looks like he only played the Simic Growth Chamber once, just so that
I thought he tapped twice.
Yep.
I thought he was showing... I thought he was doing some Teleria West chain that turn, but it looks like just tapping it once.
Well, now he'll take a Teleria West there off of the Ancient Stirrings. So these cards are going to go to the bottom of the deck. Or actually, he gets to arrange those. It's Once Upon a Time. That's a random assortment after taking a card. And now we'll head back over to Drake Sasser. So Drake will draw a card. Does he have a 2-mana? Does he have a 2-mana mana cost reducer there in Baral and or Goblin Electromancer? And the way he's tapping some mana, I'm led to believe the answer is probably yes. But he might be going to a Manamorphose plus Grape Shot plan here.
Yeah, that could take a turn off of Alan's clock here. I mean, you can't be confident if you just go Accelerator here and pass the turn back that we go back to your 3rd turn. Alan's got a lot of infrastructure here to assemble a combo kill next turn. Teleria West is another card in Alan's hand that's been revealed that would give me some pause on Sasser's side, so let's take a turn off here.
Well, there is a Grape Shot to take care of Azusa, so the very powerful 3-mana ramping engine there for Zach Allen has been killed. We'll head back his way, see what he can put together now that Azusa has been killed.
Yeah, the Azusa plus the bounce land in this spot represents 6 mana next turn. You just can't let Alan untap with that much.
There's a Bajuka Bog. I'm going to take care of the graveyard there and simply pass the turn back. So we'll head back over to Sasser. You do have to check to see how many Grape Shots he runs. The answer's 2.
Yep.
He had 1 exiled. I did just want to make a quick check of that as Goblin Electromancer does join the battlefield.
Yeah, it's a strange way that Storm in all formats can kind of get backdoored in game number 1 is just you have 1 or 2 ways to win and you can get exiled.
The very powerful Remand here from Sasser is going to counter that Azusa. Remand has looked very good for Drake. He only has 2 in his main deck here this weekend, but they have been timely every time he's drawn them.
Is that because it's a game over?
Yeah.
Game over right now?
It's a pretty good spot there.
I mean, is it... I mean, are we just... All right, fine. We can play it. We'll play it out. I mean, we'll play it out, but okay. I don't think it's...
As long as you're good to play it out.
I mean, I'm not feeling optimistic here. Although it doesn't look like his hand's loaded with a lot of red cards. No. I just did a check there for the Desperate and Pyretic Rituals. Doesn't look like there's a whole lot to work with.
There is a Gifts Ungiven, however, and Gifts is not the worst card to see here. That is for sure. See where Drake wants to go now.
Well, the question is, can you just gifts right now and start doing something really productive? You know, could you gift for a bunch of rituals and start going? The answer, I'm guessing, is probably no.
Yeah.
You could do it with a land drop in theory. The gifts cost 3, and then your starter costs 1. So with a land drop, you could maybe set it up, but it seems so much less likely than trying to just survive this turn and then next turn go wild.
Yeah, because Drake's just going to play the gifts on Zach's end step, assuming that he gets another turn. And then, you know, obviously get 2 rituals, a Manamorphose and a Pass in Flames. Probably deploy a Baral and then just go from there, I have to imagine. But he can't do it this turn, so we see if Zach Allen can get some work done.
I love seeing Remand back in action.
Trust me, I know.
What do you think next turn's going to look like? Those are my favorite cards. It implies something about the shape of the following turn.
Yes.
Oh.
No remand this time.
Maybe he's just thinking about it for a second.
No, he doesn't have
I know he doesn't. He doesn't have another remand. Come on.
Here's a Summer's Pact.
I'm a little surprised. I think Sasser, it looks like it has a copy of Manamorphose in hand. I'm a little surprised to not see him try to start it up last turn. Because if you hit a ritual, maybe you're good to go. And if you miss, you still get to cast gifts and probably have enough stuff to work with the following turn. The floor is pretty high and the ceiling's really high too. But maybe Sasser thinks that he might end up needing the Manamorphose next turn should everything go the right way.
There's 2. And then here's the land drop. So it's going to be 3 green, 3 blue. And with the last bounce land trigger, that'll pick up a forest. Now here's Prime Time. Prime Time's going to resolve. Trigger. The Slayer Stronghold's already on the battlefield, so Boros Garrison and something else will be the targets here for Zach Allen. Or at least you certainly have to imagine that's the case. He's going to give this a bit of a look, though.
Looking through Sasser's list right now, 1 copy of Echoing Truth and 2 copies of Remand, but no third piece of interaction for the opposing turn. Sometimes you see a stray third card in this slot, so you can gifts for interaction. Sasser does not have that option in this list.
Looks like he's thinking about Boros Garrison. He's already set that one face down. Now he might be thinking about a snow-covered forest here in this spot. A lot of options here for Zach, of course, with this deck. It plays a lot of different one-of lands. All right, he's made his decision. It'll be Boros Garrison and Gemstone Mine. Of course, the mine enters the battlefield with 3 mining counters. There'll be a trigger there on the Boros Garrison to return a land here in just a moment. But first, he'll activate the Slayer's Stronghold before returning it with the Boros Garrison trigger.
But the question is there a way, you know, if this is 8 and you get the double strike land, that gets you to 16. Looks like it's short if you don't have anything else you can put on there. I don't think it's going to be a lethal turn.
No,
and you have to assume that Sasser's going to be coming back at you with a lethal turn.
Almost assuredly. So the big question right now, if you're Zach Allen, is there a way for you to search up a pact negation to defend yourself? And I believe the answer to that question is yes. By attacking the Primeval Titan, getting Simic Growth Chamber in Teleria West, Obviously, Amulet's going to untap both of those lands. You're still going to be in combat, so you can't transmute right away. But what you can do is have your Simic Growth Chamber pick up the Tolaria West that you get. The Simic Growth Chamber's untapped. You use that in a combination with the Gemstone Mine to tutor up a Pact of Negation to defend yourself.
And you might have to do that in lieu of getting Sunholm, because you don't have lethal this way anyway.
Yeah, so you just do Sunholm next turn.
But you have lethal the following turn, and the Pact of Negation might be enough cover.
Yep. So that looks like it's going to be the play, which is go get Tolaria West, go get Simic Growth Chamber. These cards, again, will be untapped because of the Amulet. And now here is your Transmute. I believe post-com. Actually, excuse me. He got a Breeding Pool, not a Simic Growth Chamber, because it looks like he wants the lands on the battlefield. And then post-combat, he transmutes the Tolaria West. So no bounce land trigger there is what I want to clarify. Now in response to the transmute here from Zach Allen, Drake is going to play his Gifts Ungiven and search up 4 cards. So we're all clear here.
And the Gifts is too expensive and too critical here to let Allen tag with the Pact of Negation.
Mm-hmm.
The other stuff that Sasser can get right now is either replaceable, or in the case of Past in Flames, has flashback. No guarantee that he can go off through the Pact of Negation, but he certainly can't do it if Gifts Ungiven is the card that gets hit.
So it looks like Rituals are headed to the graveyard. And now there's your Pact Negation. So he's got some cover and would be able to attack for lethal next turn. Almost assuredly, his deck should be able to generate enough mana to do that. So let's see what happens here, folks. We head back over to Drake now. Can Drake find a way out of this one? As good as that Remand was earlier, Remand does not really solve the problem of Pact of Negation.
No.
Yeah.
Not that well.
Not at all, I would argue. Remember, Drake is also down 1 Grape Shot right now. Worth noting, one has been exiled by the Bajuka Bog. He has 1 left in his deck. So he'll start by sacrificing a Scalding Turn. Going to take at least 1, potentially 3. As he falls down to 10. And there is a mountain.
So how to proceed in the face of a face-up counterspell?
Pretty much. Manamorphose. He'll get some mana counters. Blue or red and 1. We know the drill here.
The best possible scenario here for Drake is to be able to generate enough mana through rituals where even if your Pass in Flame gets tagged, you have enough mana left over to flash back again and keep going. Not easy to do, but certainly possible. And I think with the way that Zach sent those piles back last turn, I think he's trying to bottleneck on mana and pick a fight over the first copy of Pass in Flames.
Mm-hmm. I think Zach knows the name of the game. Drake's going to play another Electromancer. Now we're going to try for Pass in Flames. I mean, this is where you fight.
Yeah, this is. I imagine this is the spot that that Allen tried to set up. It might not be good enough, but he's got to try.
So here's Merchant Scroll. Okay. Echoing Truth. Okay, I think this lets him live, actually.
Yeah, I mean, if Allen's got to spend 5 mana on his pact, might not even prevent the Primeval Titan from being redeployed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Zach actually has 2 packs to pay for, I think.
Yeah, then that's a full turn. You can try again next turn with Past in Flames in your graveyard.
You should be able to go off
and a lot of reducers. Yeah.
Yeah, so he pays for all the packs now. Yeah, the Echoing Truth is actually key. It's, you know, the Merchant Scroll being able to find that Echoing Truth. That might just be a game winner. He has to pay for the blue pact and the green pact, which he does.
That's his whole turn.
Yep.
Even if Primeval Titan gets redeployed, it's really not that. Well, I guess the concern would be...
It's kind of, I think he might have the Bojuka Bog in his hand.
Right.
But Drake has a Past in Flames in his hand.
Yeah, he's got
but not much of a graveyard to work with. So we're going back and forth here. Yeah, because there's the Bog. Okay, annihilate that graveyard, thank you. The Bog is untapped. There's a Forest. That's the second land drop for the turn. This is a Sakura Tribe Scout. That is a Slayer's Stronghold. All right, so now Drake does have a Past in Flames in hand. Not sure he has a Gifts Ungiven right now.
It's a very low base to go off from.
He's going to start with a Manamorphose. Looks a little confident. 1-1.
I think he just drew a Gifts. And if that's the case, I don't think going off from here is going to be that difficult. He basically has unlimited mana to work with.
Mm-hmm. Should be Manamorphose, Rituals, and X. We'll see what X is. X, I believe, pardon me, because he already has Past in Flames in hand, I should believe he'll get 2 Rituals, Manamorphose, and Grape Shot.
Yeah, and every path basically leads to the same place.
Mm-hmm. Because I'm a Storm Master. Play a lot of it. So I know all the inner workings of it.
I've lost to it enough to know what they usually get against me in these spots.
Yeah.
It's a mastery of sorts, I suppose.
I'm actually referencing there was a tournament that I got invited to at Grand Prix Vegas where we got to play all the old decks, and I got stuck with Storm, and I was going off, and I just totally muffed it.
Okay.
And I was a point short, so I had to just pass the turn back to Gavin Ferre. I was like, we're doing it, we're not doing it. Your turn. So it's nice to watch. It's nice to watch good Storm players. Pyretic. 3 red floating.
It's been a strange game featuring about the ceiling of interaction these decks present against each other in game number 1.
I was thinking the exact same thing. The Echoing Truth mattering, the Pact of Negation mattering, the second Past in Flames and second Grape Shot
mattering. Yep.
Yeah. It's all come up.
The Remand.
Yeah, being good.
Remand was very good.
Yeah, being good, absolutely.
So now with 3 accelerators, now even Gifts Ungiven essentially on the house.
Yeah, we are as close to easy mode as it can be now. Can say that with some level of certainty here. Drake's going to show him all the things he can do, which is, of course, cast the Grape Shot, then flashback the Past in Flames that allows him to recast the Grape Shot, and that is going to do it. Drake Sasser is going to win game number 1 here over Zach Allen. Gift Storm up a game here over Amulet Titan, and we are going to turn our attention to the sideboards here of both players. And we will be starting with Zach Allen here momentarily in his Amulet Titan deck. That's actually a pretty important game for him to win, being on the play in this matchup, and he wasn't able to steal that one. Felt like he might get close, but didn't get there.
Yeah, he had a really explosive opening. He had a couple pieces of interaction, but just not quite able to slog through all the interaction. And when it comes down to it, can't get the reducers off the table. Storm can go off from a very low base. Sasser had very little to work with going into that final turn, but it didn't take much when all of his spells cost 1 mana.
Yeah, Zach does have access to 1 engineered explosives as a way to get those cost reducers off the battlefield, but that's it. You're not going to find lightning bolts or galvanic blast or anything like that here. So for his sideboard, he does have another copy of engineered explosives hanging out over there, a Hornet Queen, a Mangle Horn, an Obstinate Baloth, a Raminip Excavator, 2 Disdainful Stroke, 2 Dismember, 2 Oko Thief of Crowns, a Cavern of Souls, a Field of the Dead, a Ghost Quarter, and a Radiant Fountain.
I mean, no way to put it. He's light. He doesn't have a whole lot of cards here. I think the Disdainful Strokes, Dismembers, and Okos are all worthy of consideration, but pretty much all of his bullets are much ado about nothing. I suppose the explosives as well. But, you know, no two ways about it. He's light here. He doesn't have a whole lot to change the matchup.
Well, we'll go to the other side of things here very quickly. You'll take a look at Drake Sasser, who's got 4 Aria of Flame, 2 Mystical Dispute, 2 Empty the Warrens, 2 Blood Moons, 2 Abrades, 2 Bolts, and a Leyline of Sanctity.
I'm interested in the some mixture of Abrade and Lightning Bolt. Abrade's a little bit pricier, but Alan has some artifacts to go along with Sakura Tribe Skeleton and Azusa as targets for his removal spells. And the Blood Moons here. They aren't game over by themselves, and Alan's got some ways to fight through them, but there's going to be spots where it's lights out, and there's going to be other spots where it slows Alan down enough that Sasser has more breathing space to combo out.
Well, those are the options there for both players. Game number 2 will be underway here in just a moment. As you did see Drake Sasser win game number 1. He's getting one step closer to making the finals here, and if he wins this match, he's going to get himself a Players Tour qualification. Of course, if you do follow competitive Magic, you saw Wizards of the Coast make an announcement about the Players Tour and all the different ways that you can play competitive Magic in 2020 and beyond. So this is a little something that Wizards of the Coast did gift us here on the SCG Tour. For our individual opens, it's the finalists who get that qualification. For our team opens, it's the team open winner. So last week, it was the team of Matthew Dilks, Jonathan Rosser, and Dale Ayers that got that Players Tour qualification. This week, it's the winners of these semifinal matches. But it's also worth noting that these players are also being walking out of here with a ton of other stuff, some cash, some SCG points, all that good stuff here this weekend. And Drake Sasser, the player on your right with a big old smile on his face, is from Madison, Alabama. Opens played last year 16, 2 top 8s with 1 win in Worcester with Grixis Delver in Legacy. 4 open top 8s all time, only has that 1 win, but this is a really good top 8 for him. And if he's able to get by this Amulet Bloom player, he might be playing another one in the finals there, and we'll pull him. And he's got to be feeling good about that, too.
Yeah, I think this bracket broke very well for Sasser, and I think it's really emblematic of how smart this deck choice was this weekend. I imagine he has a very good matchup against all manner of Urza decks. A couple of his fringe options, like the 1 Echoing Truth, a couple copies of Remand in the main deck, really speak to trying to sew up those matchups. And potentially looking at Amulet Titan in the semifinals and finals if the other side of the bracket goes as predicted, with that deck winning over Bird.
Well, these players are ready here for game number 2, of course. Our other match, assuming we have some time to jump that way, it is Brian Carey playing Burn. We defeated Jonathan Hobbs in the quarterfinals against Will Pulliam playing Amulet Titan, who defeated Xiao Tan in the quarterfinals. So again, if we have time to jump that way, we certainly will do so. What we've seen here is a much different modern metagame than we have seen in a little while, that's for sure. Throne of Eldraine, Modern Horizons, the banning of Hogak, Faithless Looting, and all that jazz having a huge effect on the format. Things are certainly different now than they were over the summer.
Yeah, well, that's the hope. I mean, so half full, half empty sort of thing. The half empty analysis is Modern Horizons has injected all of this power into the format. It's kind of in the same space, being very artifact-centric, and Emery is more of the same. The positive take on things, and kind of what this top 4 would suggest, is that the power of Modern Horizons is largely in things that slow the game down, and it gives breathing space for older archetypes that were pushed out of the metagame because they were just too fast to play. And it might make a wider array of cards viable if you can play with 2 or 3 mana cards that are kind of reactive or situational, like Remand, like Mana Leak.
That's a good point.
How it actually breaks out remains to be seen. But this top 4, this top 8 would suggest the Urza deck's very good, but maybe a little overhyped right now. Maybe still a work in progress on the iteration.
Both these players taking a look at their opening hands. Drake with a good enough storm hand, I think, to keep, and Zach is happy with his hand. So it'll be a turn one Amulet Vigor once again as we head back over to Drake Sasser. He'll play a Spiral of Canal and do a little cantrip, and it's a sleight of hand for him. Remember, Storm is a turn 3 deck through and through. You play your cost reducer, on turn 2, and you do your thing on turn 3, ideally. And with the banning of Summer Bloom many years ago, Amulet of Titan has certainly slowed down a little bit, but it can still be a very powerful turn 3 deck, depending on the right draw.
Summer Bloom, I think, is the wrong way. I think that was a really wise card to target. Because the other ways this deck cheats their mana, it puts an object onto the battlefield that you can kill. And sometimes that's not good enough, right? Like, Tribe Scout costs 1 mana, not the easiest thing to interact with. Azusa kind of has haste in a certain way, but it's way different than Summer Bloom.
And there is Azusa. So another very good start here for Zach Allen.
Yep. Can't complain about his early draws. I mean, he's had Amulet and Azusa, and those are the 2 cards that get you way ahead of schedule.
Breeding Pool. There's Secure Tribe Scout. 1 more land drop left here, I thought, but maybe not. Breeding Pool, excuse me. Growth Chamber, play Azusa. Breeding Pool, play Tribe Scout.
Might be looking at a little short Manamorphose here, or short Grape Shot here. Slow down this mana acceleration from Allen.
Well, there's 2 Manamorphoses, and a Grape Shot would kill both of these.
Yeah, that's the nightmare scenario for Allen. You're saying to yourself, if you got it, at least commit a ritual. Don't cantrip twice and get it. Really bad news for Allen.
You know, that goes and shows some of the versatility of Grape Shot in this deck. Not only is it the win condition, but it can do some other things as well.
Yeah, sometimes you see Lightning Bolt in the list for the same reason. It's interaction early, and it helps you combo out. And you can use it to add your storm count later in the game when you're going off through Past in Flames or whatever.
Yep. And now there's your mana accelerant there in Brawl. And then ideally for Drake Sasser, you win next turn, right?
Yeah, and remember, Allen's sideboard is not exactly flush with ways to interact in this spot.
Here is Summoner's Pact. And there's Azusa.
Man. Oh, no! You hate to see it.
And a trigger from Baral. Cool, man.
Oh, yeah, you get Salute.
Yep.
Achievement unlocked.
Super cool. Super cool.
Don't see a whole lot of that.
Yeah. Hey, guess who gets to pay for Pact next turn?
Well, maybe. He might. I mean, does he have a land drop?
He does have. I mean, he's still got the Growth Chamber in hand from earlier.
Come on, Blood Moon. Come on, Blood Moon.
He has 2 basic.
Okay, he's got 2 basic. I thought he was going to play that.
You are a monster.
I just want to, I want to see the alternate wins.
Man,
he wins comboing out. I've seen that a million times,
There's your Blood Moon.
There we go. Give him a taste.
Yeah.
Give him a taste. Give him a sampler.
Everything coming up Sasser right now, folks. There's your Pact payment. We'll head back over to Zach Allen. He'll play Simic Growth Chamber. There's the battlefield untapped because it's a mountain. And now there's a snow-covered island. This is another Blood Moon. Well, I guess we're missing some combo pieces, but everything else is coming up just fine here for Drake.
I mean, yeah, he's got a clean shot at it if he had a way to combo off here. It's not like Allen can interact from this spot. So,
Solaria West, prime time. That'll resolve. Trigger. The Titan will go a-diggin'.
Yeah, not much to do in this spot because, nothing's got text. But it's at least something that can start hitting.
So just a handful of lands there for Zach Allen. And a 6/6. Not much past that. So all Drake needs to win this game, to finish it, is a Gifts Ungiven. Now, can he do it with Past in Flames? Maybe. Because he does have 2 Metamorphoses and a Sleight of Hand down there, so it's not impossible. Is it worth the risk? Well, that's for him to decide.
Right. The question is, what's the rush? It's not whether or not you can do it. You have some chance. It's probably not 100%er. But what could go wrong?
I think he believes it is statistically possible enough to give it a shot. So here's Past in Flames. He's playing that Past in Flames before playing another Ritual from his hand, which is maybe a little bit surprising.
Well, it suggests that he thinks he's got it rolled up.
I'm with you on that one. There's a Serum Visions. Draw a card. Scry 2. Split the difference. Manamorphose, which means the card he kept on top with the Scry, he will be drawing. Manamorphose will generate some mana. This is another Manamorphose, I believe. Count the spells. Looks like it's 6. And Zach Allen at 18, remember. Desperate Ritual. Gifts Ungiven. Well, if that's not it, I don't know what is.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a Grape Shot in the graveyard. It is all rolled up.
Well, what we can let you know is that Will Pulliam won his match against Brian Carey. Pulliam playing Amulet Titan took care of Burn. I don't know if Drake Sasser knows that yet.
Not surprising. I have been felled in that matchup quite a few times.
I know you have.
I know how it goes.
But if you're a Drake Sasser, you hear that news, you got to be thrilled because you're taking care of Amulet Titan now, and you're going to get to play it again here in just a moment once you finish going off in this game. Desperate Ritual, Pyretic Ritual, Grape Shot, and another Past in Flames. And that means there are 2 Grape Shots in the bin for Drake Sasser to have access to. He's got plenty of mana with 3 floating, 3 untapped, and more Rituals to be played. So Rituals will head to the graveyard. Here's a Manamorphose. And there is Past in Flames. That's spell 9. Grape Shot would be spell 10.
Yeah.
He's going to play a bunch of Rituals. He can remand one, maybe. There's your Grape Shots. That is going to do it. Drake Sasser going to win this game and match here over his teammate last weekend, Zach Allen, 2-0.